Today's video brought to you by Imperial Express. Never leave home without it. Buddy, it's warm out today. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Tomorrow morning, Colorado bound. But first, we're gonna go ahead and do a quick motor oil change. We're at 2,500 miles, 25 and change, which means another 2,500 miles we're gonna be at our due service according to the Harley manual of when we should change our motor oil. And with Colorado coming up, we are gonna be seeing approximately 2,700 miles over the course of the next week from us leaving all the way up there with the ride planned for Saturday, July 11th. My apologies if that caused any confusion. I mixed up my date with the actual day of the ride, where in my head July 10th was a Saturday, but it is actually the Friday before. So correction is July 11th. The day was correct. Saturday, we are gonna be meeting at 9:30, kickstands up at 10:30. It's gonna give us the opportunity to meet, talk to everybody, and take some cool photos of everyone's bikes, record as much as I want, and it's also gonna allow everyone the opportunity to get a little bit of pick-me-up of the holy grail, the sweet nectar of the coffee gods. And with Colorado right around the corner, we have to do a couple things left. We're gonna be changing our motor oil. With this bike at the Softail, we've been changing the motor oil every 2,500 miles. With us riding at a slightly higher RPM than most people, we tend to cruise at 4,200 RPMs with the Twisty seeing 5,000. For a good amount of time, that's where I just call home. I like the way the bike responds. It also gives me the opportunity to engine brake and give me a little bit more cushion when I'm coming in turns. If I'm coming a little bit too hot, I like the way it feels. So just as a precaution, we've been changing the motor oil every 2,500. And then the other two fluids, the prime and the trans, they tend to see every 5,000, an occasional every 10,000. And then we still have to pack. That's the interesting part, because I've always been a little bit of an overpacker, and we're gonna try to do the opposite this time. We're gonna plan for the basics. Rain gear, where we have the pillow, pants, shirts, etc. And then of course, camera gear. Before we jump into the video, I'm doing a lot of animation today. Can you tell I am pumped for this trip? Remember to check out the links in the drop down section below. And some of the links that you see are affiliate links at no extra cost to you. By clicking on them and purchasing what is said through those items, you help out the channel. But wait, you don't like what those links go to? If you purchase something after clicking those links within a certain allotted amount of time, we still see some of that support. So truly, again, to everyone who clicks and supports the channel in whichever aspect you choose to do so, whether by watching the videos, commenting on each of the videos, as well as clicking on those Amazon affiliate links, I thank you, appreciate it. And now, let's quit jabbering. Connor, come on now, son. Time to change some oil. Now that we have the oil change, that we also ended up detailing the bike and going over all the bolts and just double checking everything that is snug. Good thing, because one of our exhaust nuts on the bracket has gone MIA, but thankfully when we sent our exhaust over to Trask to fix the heat shield, they sent us additional hardware, and that was kind of a blessing in disguise because we ended up using that. We're gonna be bringing the extra bolts with us just in case, but we put some Loctite on it that I don't believe I reapplied Loctite when I put the exhaust back on, so that's probably my fault. Right now what we're doing is we took a couple photos. This is one of the lights I got for the photography. That other channel, I haven't done a video on that one in a minute, but it's cool because you have multiple different colors that you can run through, which is really neat. We got all the stuff that we're gonna be packing, and we did kind of a Wes Anderson style photo, a couple of them on Instagram, but it is difficult laying everything out, and I wanted to do a bit of a video, kind of like a stop motion, where you show an exploded view and then you start putting stuff in the bag, and that's gonna get sideways real quick, where we just need to finish packing instead of just taking photos. Maybe in the future we'll start packing in a week in advance, that way we can do that. But already I can tell you that we have overpacked. This is definitely interesting. I always like taking trips on the bike because you're forced to downplay. If we were to take the van, I have clothes, I have all the camera gear, I have gimbals, I have stabilizers. I would have entirely too much stuff that we're not gonna be bringing, but still, it's the first time in Colorado. I don't wanna miss anything. So we're gonna be bringing our Canon 80D, but we also have our camera bag. This is a sub bag to our camera bag, but we're also bringing our old Canon. This is the Rebel that we're gonna be bringing the body, and that way we can do double night shots when we're in New Mexico, and that way I can just have it on my side when we're riding around Colorado. Maybe try and take some photos. Maybe that'll work. I'm not too sure yet. I need to dial that in. And we have an assortment of lenses, but I forced myself to only bring a couple lenses. But again, we're trying to be smart. So we're gonna have the 10 to 18. We have the Rokinon fisheye, and we have our go-to 55 to 250 millimeter. That's already a lot of lenses now that I talk about, and we have our 50 millimeter. When I have my Canon 80D and the 50 millimeter, it allows me to store it here in the top compartment. This is my speed bag is what I call it. That way, if I'm riding and I want to put something, I can grab it. We have entirely too much stuff. Now, one of the things that I really like about these bags, I don't even know what the brand is. This is like Bagale, Ogal, that we picked up before going to Born Free that help you manage your luggage space. That one of the cool tricks for traveling, that you pack your t-shirts kind of like a rose, where all you'll do is you'll fold it in half, and then you'll fold this in half as well again, and then you'll fold back your sleeves, so that way it's pretty much just a skinny triangle. What? It's a skinny rectangle. And then you'll just roll it up. This is like a little cinnamon roll, a little t-shirt cinnamon roll, and there you go, and then you tuck it in, and you're allowed much more room to pack your stuff. I totally told myself that we were not packing as many clothes. This is shirts, so it's gonna get us by. It's mostly t-shirts, a couple undershirts, and then we have a long sleeve shirt in case there's mosquitoes, and then we have a short Magellan t-shirt, pretty compact. And then on this bigger one, we have our sets of pants. We have 3 sets of pants and a flannel, because I believe it gets cooler even in New Mexico. I think it says at night it's supposed to be 55 degrees. And before we go any further, a while back when I was supposed to go to Colorado last September, it was mostly on the Facebook group, I think I talked about it on a YouTube channel, that this brake patch, we got it the December before we got our Street Bob, and I really am excited that we ended up doing this whole thing where I wanted to meet someone in Breckenridge and give them this patch that kind of like a, hey, you know, whatever your bucket list is. Mine was to go back and ride Colorado because I had not ridden it. I'd just gone there in cars, etc., and vacationed there several times. That this was kind of be like, this was gonna be symbolic of, hey, you achieved your bucket list item, and then kind of pass it on to someone else. But what I'm thinking of doing is of taking this off and then giving to someone on the ride. Or I'm thinking of just doing a giveaway on Instagram, where since this is one of the bucket list items, this was the very first vest that we got when we first started riding. This is an extra large. That now it's pretty big in my closet, and I think it would be kind of neat to have someone possibly win it, and that way they can get more life out of it. It's still a good vest, still good. It's missing one button, but you still have the zip here in the center. So what do y'all think? Should we give this away? Where it's gonna be simple, go to Instagram, tag one friend, and you're entered, and it's just one way to kind of say thanks to everybody, and since we're going back to Colorado. So there's that, we're already near the top. I don't believe this is gonna fit here. And now that we've run into our first snag, we're gonna go ahead and show you some of the other things that we're packing, getting ready for Colorado for the trip. Is here we have a little pillow, it's an inflatable. This is really comfortable. I end up bringing this with me anytime I go out of town, even if I'm just going to say Houston or Dallas for just the weekend. And then here we have our sleeping pad. We have a dry bag, and inside it is our sleeping bag, because nothing would be worse than going out, riding out, getting rained on, and having to set up camp only to have a wet sleeping bag. So we keep our sleeping bag in here, keeps it dry, keeps it safe. And then here is a bundle pack. This is what my sleeping bag initially came in. It is just giant. It is wide, and with this, I like this because it keeps it dry, and it's almost similar sizing, and I kind of just stuffed it in here, but it allows me the ability to attach this to something. Here is our rain gear, should we need it, as well as our tent. Our tent is in here. It's something off Amazon. All these are gonna be in the drop-down section below. Pretty cumbersome. I have yet to master the art of moto camping. So that's our packing roughly. We're gonna troubleshoot a couple of things with the lenses, go outside to the bike and see how, and figure out where we're gonna put what. But we were able to figure out a general system that works. So we have this Pelican bag filled. It's organized, which is surprising. At first, it was just all over the place. We have some zip ties that we just went and picked up. We have a tire inflator kit, as well as a tire puncture kit that's in there. Most of the space on this one is from that t-shirt packing cube. that takes up about 3/4 of it, and we were trying to figure out what we're gonna put in this bag, and I figured this is gonna be my roadside bag where we have the tools that we have, the most commonly used tools that we have on our bike, ranging from your 1/2" 9/16. We have a couple small wrenches, sockets, Allen keys, Torx bit, as well as a small bag of assorted items. This one has a flange nut, a couple C-clips, exhaust gaskets, miscellaneous nuts and bolts, and a couple of the nuts and bolts for that Trash Performance exhaust bracket, because as we talked about earlier, whenever I reattached my exhaust after polishing it, I didn't apply any Loctite that I can remember to it, and I lost a nut the other day. One of the things that I think it's a really great idea that saves you on space is when you're running with tape, whether it be duct tape, vinyl tape, but what I'll do is I'll take it off the roll and I'll just fold it over on itself, and this is what you get, where it's a lot more convenient and it saves you a whole bunch on space, where you have this big old roll compared to this small piece of tape. But again, in a pinch, this is what you can use, and it's gonna be on the road, and once we get to wherever we're going, it can at least survive that, and then I can probably pick one up. We also have painter's tape, and on this bag, we have our tent and our rain gear. And here we have a bunch of our battery packs that we're gonna be stuffing in on this side. That way we'll just have it hidden away, as well as an additional tourniquet. This is a cat tourniquet. I have a cat tourniquet holster for it. I just like the Kydex, that way it's just easy to tuck in. It doesn't really get bent or anything. That tourniquet itself is about $25, and then the holster for it is about $30. So that way we have it somewhere easily accessible. More likely it'll be tucked away into a side patch. We also have our IFAK kit on top. We went over what we have in a previous video, but essentially you have another tourniquet. That one's gonna be SWAT. We have our gauze, we have some clotting agents, and I know some people had mentioned previously that certain first responders don't like other people using clotting agents because a lot of people aren't familiar with them. I had yet to take a formal course on how to properly utilize the clotting agent, but essentially the reason I have it because on motorcycles, seconds turn to minutes, and that way if for some reason there is a giant gash in my leg, if I was riding and something impaled my leg, leaves a giant hole, if for some reason there's an artery punctured it, but this might be given too much thought, but that way there's a hole and you can use the clotting agent, you can find the source relatively, utilize the clotting agent, and then you apply your bandage, so that way it's clotting at the source, and you put pressure, you apply the bandage, and that's good to go. And usually on all my major road trips, I always like to bring something. It's again, the whole mentality of better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It gives me peace of mind to have it should I need to. Moving on, I digress. Now coming on to the tank bag, we have yet to organize this tank bag, but what we have in it right now that we've been kind of just putting in there as we've been addressing other issues. We found this really cool collapsible cup at one of the stores. I think it was Walmart. This was like $2, which is neat to have. I'm just gonna keep it readily available so that whenever we stop off at gas stations, I can have it and I can put ice in my Tervis, pour it in here, fresh water, and it'll be nice and cold. I can drink it, collapse it, and we're set to go. I have a flashlight, that way if for some reason we're stranded on the side of the road, whether it be day or night, there's a car coming, I can at least flash it. And it also has a strobe function. Tire pressure gauge. I also have my Memphis Shades fairing kits. It's just a little Allen key that allows you to adjust clamps or your grommets on your fairing. I also have additional grommets just in case I lose one. I've only lost one at a time, and I think it was one within a 6-month period, and I lost another one after adjusting the fairing and I forgot to tighten it. Then I have two just in case. We have our audio cable for our helmet that we're running our GoPro on our bar on our brake reservoir mount currently, because the first day is mostly in Texas that it's flat and not much is going to come of me talking and riding. That I'll probably, most of the upcoming videos is going to be me talking at the campsite the next morning while we're at lunch, and it's all going to be utilizing my iPhone, and we're going to incorporate the time lapses, time warps that we get from the GoPro into that. And so we have our cup. We also have rad flags. This is Rescue and Distress flag. This is from Rad Flags. They're out of Oklahoma. This gives you a little bit more visibility when you're on the side of the road. These are pretty straightforward to apply. You have some Velcro on the inside. And so if you're stranded on the side of the road, you simply just apply this to your bars and then you're good. But if you're working on your bike, you may want to post it somewhere where it's visible. You can even put it on your sissy bar, and that way people can see that there is a motorcycle here on the side of the road. It's an added safety precaution. And we're also going to be bringing out the GoPro Hero 3 Plus. This is the one that we used for the longest time, that we've since then retired. But with us going to Colorado, we're going to be wanting to get as much footage as possible, as many angles. And initially I thought of using this as my fender camera, and then I remembered that I had the sissy bar on there, so that is eliminated. I may just have to remove where the current mount is, get a new one, new 3M tape, and reposition it so that way it'll just go through the sissy bar. There you go, that way it'll just go through the sissy bar right here, because right now it's sitting here and this is directly obstructing where the GoPro would go. Or I can get a couple arms and just bring it back and do that, but at that point, I might as well just move the mount. It's a lot less work doing that. And we're pretty much there. And just like that, we are all packed up. The front calls for 30 PSI in the front, and we were approximately 25, 26. The rear dictated, according to the Harley sticker guide, that was 40 for the rear. We were at 39. We're gonna go ahead and leave the rear as it is and check it again tomorrow after our first gas stop, and then we'll address it should we need it. After this video drops, approximately 14 hours from now, it is time to finally go to Colorado. And if you want to follow along the journey, be sure to check out the Instagram. We'll be posting regularly on the story on our progress from going to New Mexico. I'm really looking forward to, Colorado's gonna be dope for sure, but I'm really looking forward to New Mexico and seeing, hopefully there is really clear skies at night, and that the Saharan dust doesn't affect that area that we're gonna be at, or by the evening it's nice and clear. That here in Texas has been kind of like that, where it gets cloudy and hazy during the day and at night it clears up, and I'm hoping that's the case. I'm really wanting to try the night photography now that I have the intervalometer or the shutter release button as well. And with that, we fade. Fiend. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. If you found any value from it, hit that subscribe button, and while you're there, bump on over, hit that bell to be notified of any future videos when they drop, as soon as they drop. And until next time, appreciate y'all. Ride safe. Catch y'all in Colorado.